I assumed that they'd bring Thrawn in at some stage during The Mandalorian, and they don't have the kind of grand vision. Hell, if episodes 8 and 9 aren't part of some coherent vision, I don't understand how they would ever be able to link The Mandalorian into a post-sequel trilogy timeline. That might, theoretically be more interesting as a proposition, but I can't imagine they'll do that. Thrawn seems like a Mandalorian villain in the waiting. But then there is always the open question of, what are they going to do with the post-sequel timeline? Because there's always been talk, recently anyway, there's been talk that is Daisy Ridley going to come back and reprise the role? I think there have been a couple of other actors interviewed who previously dismissed the idea but have become a bit softer on the idea since then. So they might be planning on extending the sequel timeline out, and maybe you could find a way of throwing Thrawn into that. But then does anyone really want to see Daisy Ridley and Force Ghost Luke fighting Grand Admiral Thrawn?
Well, that's going to be the big dramatic realization that Ant-Man is failing, right? And then it's like, if the Marvels fails, if Guardians pulls in way less than they want, and it's like, they must be like sweating about putting out a Star Wars movie. Imagine Daisy Ridley leading another Star Wars movie at this point. Who's going to go see it?
I mean, like, the only thing that would entice her back is money, because, let's be honest, she hasn't done calls since Rise of Skywalker. Like, not been anything notable.
She was in that, Murder on the Orient Express. She was in that.
Not exactly headlining it. Was she in some? Was she in some sci-fi movie with?
Oh, the Tom Holland one. Yeah,
Tom Holland. Yeah, that was a massive flop. Like
Chaos Walking. That's what it was called.
I mean, her career could very much be like Mark Hamill's after the Star Wars movies, like just not really able to get any other roles, like kind of typecast, and then just. Yeah.
Was he unable to get, or was he just unwilling to be typecast? Because I get the impression with her that she would take any role. It's just that they're not being offered to her.
He had a pretty fantastic voice acting career.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you have to wonder, like, was that through choice or necessity?
He's really good at it. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, he was. Yeah. I think, like, as an actor, you'd probably rather be on screen, like, doing stuff rather than just sitting in a booth recording lines.
Yeah, no, it's a fair assumption. Because he would have been on top of the world as Luke Skywalker at one point, right?
Well, yeah, but then, again, like, typecasting is a very dangerous thing, and I think the only reason, like, someone like Harrison Ford, the only reason he was able to escape that was, like, he immediately transitioned into another iconic franchise, and that sort of broke him out of that mold, and it's like, oh, okay, he's known for more than one thing, so that freed him up to be in lots of movies and have a really good career. Like, Mark Hamill didn't find that new thing, that next best thing to launch his career. And so I think that's what left him stagnated. And maybe he didn't quite have the charisma that Harrison Ford had. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
But hey, he got to be in TLJ, so,
Oh, a career that one is.
Life balances out, doesn't it?
I do occasionally, just to relive the shock of the entire event, just go back and listen to those interviews where he's so clearly telling everyone what to expect. Ooh.
Telling everyone to run.
Yeah. I mean, it's like when you're getting interviewed for like the behind the scenes commentary and you're literally saying, Ryan, I fundamentally disagree with you on all of these aspects of my character's development. And that's officially like part of the record. Like, damn.
Yeah.
You can only imagine what he was saying behind closed doors.
And even back to, The Force Awakens, wasn't there the clip where he's commenting on Han Solo's death scene when he was asked, a fan put forward the idea, or that this would be the moment that he was going to turn up and, if not save the day, then at least be present. And he's basically saying, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. This would be the brilliant time for Luke to turn up, because even if he couldn't save Han, at least Han's going to be, his death will be witnessed by someone who's known him for longer than 5 minutes. The whole thing was a shit show from beginning to end. They can't bring him back, can they? I was going to say they can't bring him back, but actually they would find a way if they wanted to. But then going forward, you don't have this well-loved cast of characters who could possibly be used to revive an immediate post-sequel trilogy timeline. Nobody really wants to see Daisy Ridley back in any role except an Ent, because it's literally made of wood. And John Boyega doesn't want to go back, and Oscar Isaac doesn't want to go back, and no one really remembers him because he doesn't have a character anyway. So then you have to go back to the, is it thousands of years forward or backward solution?
That wonderful interview that he's doing on like Skype or whatever, Oscar Isaac, where it's just like, you gonna come back to it? And he was like, if I need a new car or house, I think
another house, I think it was, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, who could blame him? Because like out of the three, I guess he was like
He's the one
the
that
more
likes Star Wars
established.
a lot as well.
Yeah, like he kind of needs it the least, I guess. And you know, he's pretty decent actor in his own right. So I'm sure
Well,
he'll be okay.
it's especially sad, I guess, is what I was going to say, because like if you check out the interviews with him, he talks about how much he loves Star Wars, always had since he was a kid, and to be a part of it is wonderful. You know, this storytelling, and then that's what it is. Like you join up, and you're like, oh, our legacy, our portion, what we added to Star Wars was the cringe that everyone hates. Cool. And then you're like, oh, you were the prequels? Like, no. You're like, oh, you're way worse than the prequels.
We all love the prequels again now.
Are they just like collectively just the Jake Lloyd of their generation? Just,
I think
like,
they're way worse.
saddled with that forever.
Because the prequels had such a great effect in a lot of ways for a lot of different industries like gaming, and they created shit tons of fans. Where are the fucking where are the sequel trilogy fans? You know, they don't exist. They're a myth, like unicorns.
Or they do, or they exist just purely oppositionally. Someone they hate doesn't like the sequels, and so they pretend that they do. But I mean, that is the sure sign of the death of the franchise. It's not necessarily just that the product is bad. It's that no one gives a damn, and it's Star Wars. And even with the prequels, which they have a mixed reputation, but they have strong feelings on both sides as to whether they were good or not. They did actually try and do something. The prequels were, still enlivening of a franchise that had been in dormant for 16 years or however long it had been in terms of cinematic releases. But Star Wars now, who is, like you say, who is there now who's making the case even for another Star Wars show? It's almost like they're only trying to come up with another film because they own the thing, and so they think there probably has to be one at some point, but no one's really asking for it anymore.
Well, I mean, is anyone talking about The Mandalorian anymore? That's like their flagship show as far as like TV goes.
I mean, I'm reviewing it, but that's just because it's funny.
Well, I know, but there's nothing like doing the rounds on social media. No one's like, oh my god, I couldn't believe what happened in this latest episode of The Mandalorian. It's just like dead. Like there's no talk about it whatsoever.
To be fair, I can't believe what happened in that episode of The Mandalorian is a staple part of anyone who is watching The Mandalorian's vernacular. I've had cause to say that many, many times. But yeah, no, the fans themselves, you're right. No one's really talking about it. It's
Is it now just like, I can't believe what didn't happen in this episode of The Mandalorian? Fucking anything.
Just to check, you lost your shit, like you gave up on episode 3, right, Drinker?
Yeah, I'm done. I just don't care.
You don't plan to?
I just can't bring myself to it. It's like, I could, I suppose. Like, maybe I could do a stream on it or something. I just don't care. I can't summon up anything. I've got no emotion whatsoever for that show.
I mean, would it interest you if I said Grief Karga returns?
I mean, just because I like Carl Weathers, like,
Would it interest you if I said we see a bunch of Mandalorians more?
No. Did they fight a giant crocodile again?
I could only fucking pray that they do, because that scene was hilarious, dude.
If anything, it gets better in the
absolute idiots.
What else were you going to ask me? Would it interest me if
there's a moment where Baby Grogu does something kind of cute?
No. Don't care about him. Would it interest me if Bo-Katan took her clothes off? Maybe.
I am sorry, you're not going to get that. All right, this is Disney Star Wars, okay?
Yeah.
If anything,
oh yeah, women don't have bodies, do they? In Disney World.
Or she popped a helmet on and kept it on for at least a couple of episodes. It's like the opposite of what you were asking for.
Yeah. Oh God, it's.
Although the acting did improve with the helmet on, so there is that to be said for it.
Damn. She always I don't know what it is, but she always seems like she's gritting her teeth. Like, I can't believe I'm in this fucking show.
I'm tired of every single actor with the Mandalorian.
I'm just tired.
They all do the same thing, and you might be like, "Yeah, because it's the way." And I'm like, "I seriously need to die. Like, it's just enough. I have had enough of the way. I need no more way."
It's just like fucking Hot Fuzz. The greater good. Shut up!
Shut it.
Yeah.